Estate planning can be hard to understand, so many people just don't do them. But Heather Parker of Parker Law is here to tell us why we need to create one, and estate planning are so important. I even thought, Heather, with me being, kind of like at my age, that, I don't need to do it right now, even though my kids are older, what do I need to do? But that's not true at all, is it?
No, not at all. So pretty much there's pieces of estate planning that we need at any stage of life. And really what to know about estate planning is that it's really our method for setting instructions in place so that our wishes are followed if we were to end up in a situation where we can't manage our assets for ourselves or when we pass away. And I think a lot of times people think, well, my family knows what to do. And while they might, when they actually start trying to do things, they're going to experience issues without having something legal in place that authorizes them to do it. If they try to deal with banks or government agencies, they're not just going to let anybody in to manage your affairs.
Yeah.
So it's at least as important too. I think the other kind of feedback we get sometimes is, well, I think estate planning is just for people with lots of money. And that's not the case. Whatever amount of assets you might have accumulated, it's important that what you want to have happen to them actually happens to them. And more importantly, I think for those of us who are parents, if you have minor children, there's a piece of estate planning, a will, that is the crucial piece that makes sure that you get to indicate who's going to be able to take care of your children if something happens to you.
Yeah. Let me give you a story here. You tell me if this is right, because I heard there was a gentleman who pretty much through their lives, the family thought they were poor. They thought they were broke because dad was kind of, getting by and stuff like with the family. He passed away, and then they found out that he had all this money saved for them. Aww. And then it started fighting because they didn't know where the money was coming from, what was going on. And it was where, if he had an estate, then everybody would have been taken care of and it wouldn't have broken up the family. And that's what's important too, right?
I think that's critical. It's not only what is going to happen to the assets I leave behind, but who's going to be in charge of making sure that it goes where I want it to go. Because unfortunately, that's where a lot of times the fighting comes into play is, well, who said you get to do that? And who gets grandma's cuckoo clock, or whatever the issue is. It's not always about the money. It's about who's in charge, who gets to make decisions, and where's everything going to go. And if you've laid everything out ahead of time, while some family members might not like what you did, at least it's clear what you wanted, and hopefully that will help smooth the way for what will ultimately happen.
Yeah. Okay. We're seeing younger and younger people become very successful at early ages. What age do you recommend someone to do estate?
So there's pieces of estate planning that are really important once you turn 18. So most young adults don't have enough assets to worry about necessarily a will or putting in some kind of a trust or something like that, but the HIPAA laws apply as soon as you turn 18. So medical directives are really important. I'm a parent of a college-age student, so when I think about my daughter going off to college and if something were to happen medically, I'm not entitled to information about her as her parent. Doesn't matter that she lives in my house or I pay for her insurance or whatever. Legally, I'm not entitled to information. So if she's in the emergency room and something's going on, they're technically not allowed to tell me what's happening without something in place to say, yes, she's authorized me to be able to get access to information. So it's critical at many different times of life, but particularly once we start accumulating some assets, and we want to make sure it goes where we'd like it to go. Not only when we pass, but none of us knows if we might experience a time of incapacity, some time that I can't manage those things for myself. So those kinds of times would be important to have a plan in place as well.
Okay, so let's just ask this. Oh, you were talking about putting things in place. What's the difference, very quickly, about an estate plan and a will? Because those are two different things, correct?
So if we think about an estate plan, that's more the umbrella term. A will is a piece of an estate plan. So there's lots of different tools we can use in estate planning. A will is just one piece of that. So a will is really where, like I said, we designate guardians for minor children. It's who we indicate we want to be in charge of distributing our assets and where we want our assets to go. It's just one piece of that. There's lots of different possibilities, and it varies depending on your circumstances what makes the most sense. That's why it's important to get good guidance.
And that's where they come to see you, and I like you said right there, everybody's different. So again, people think, well, I'm not that rich, so I don't need to do one like, Bob down the street who
right.
has 50 cars and stuff like that. But just imagine, as you said, you have insurance policies that when you pass, you have maybe investments, you have different things that need to be looked at and taken care of. And also, if you want to donate to charity is a great way for an estate too, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. You can provide for not only your family, friends, but also those organizations that are important to you.
So perfect. All right, Heather, how can people get a hold of you?
My office is in Mesa. My website is parkerlawaz.com, and the phone number is 480-264-5177.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather.
Thanks so much.
All right. There you go. Estate planning, and the person to talk to is Heather Parker to get her done. Come on back. We got more of the Arizona Daily Mix right after this.